Very good morning. We are live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next hour, Israel says no hostage release before Friday, despite the two sides agreeing a truce. Finland to close all but northernmost border crossing with Russia following a surge in migrants. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi hosts virtual G20 Leaders Summit, says concerns of the Global South will have to be given top priority in the 21st century. India and Australia set for a 5-match T20 International Series from Thursday. Surya Kumar Yadav to lead Team India. News in detail now. As Israel-Hamas conflict rages on, Israeli officials said there would be no release of hostages held by Hamas before Friday, despite the two sides agreeing a truce. The agreement was approved by the Israeli government early on Wednesday and had been widely expected to take effect on Thursday. While Israel's chief military spokesperson said on Wednesday that the war in Gaza would continue until the ceasefire.
We had a discourse with Israel Chief of General Staff and all the brigade commanders. We don't know when a ceasefire will start. We will be prepared to do everything that's required. At the moment, we are focusing on the war. What we did today is to expose Hamas tunnels and destroy them.
Whereas after the Israel and Hamas agreed on a ceasefire, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that the Red Cross would be allowed to visit the remaining hostages in Gaza.
The outline that was agreed upon will not include releasing murders. It does not include the representatives from the Red Cross, visit from the Red Cross to the hostages and giving them medication. Here is the exact segment of the agreement. The Red Cross will be allowed to visit the remainder of the hostages and to give them required medications. And I expect the Red Cross to do its work.
Now, Israel and Hamas reached a deal to release 50 women and children kidnapped and held in Gaza with a 4-day ceasefire. DD India correspondent Sarah Coates reports from Tel Aviv.
Well, it's certainly been a very difficult night for a number of families here in Israel who have learned that the names of their loved ones are not on this first list of hostages that are set to be released any time soon from the Gaza Strip, released over to Israeli authorities and brought back into Israel. But what is even harder is potentially the fact that a number of other families know their loved ones' names will not be on this list because they are not women and children. And look, they are pushing the government to do more, to do everything it can to release these 240 hostages that do remain inside the Gaza Strip, not just 50 hostages, but 240. Now, there continue to be protests right around the country calling for the government to do more, calling for the government to put this issue ahead of its military campaign in the Gaza Strip, saying that the lives of their loved ones are worth more than anything. Now, we are expected over the next few days to see this list appearing every single night with around 12 to 13 names on it. These people will then be released from the Gaza Strip, and it is anticipated that this deal could be extended. This ceasefire deal could go on for at least 10 days if more people are found inside the Gaza Strip, as it's known that some of them just don't know where they are. If they are found, they may also be brought out and the ceasefire extended. In Tel Aviv, Sarah Coates reporting for DD India.
And UN officials briefed the Security Council on the humanitarian crisis faced by women and children in Gaza on Wednesday. While calling for a ceasefire to be extended beyond the original 4 days, UN representative to UAE said that truce will provide life-saving humanitarian relief from the ongoing conflict.
We hope that the 4-day truce announced can be extended to allow in the life-saving humanitarian relief for the Palestinians in Gaza and the safe return of the remaining hostages there.
And the World Health Organization said the population of Gaza is deprived of access to nourishment, clean water and medical care on Wednesday. The regional director of the World Health Organization's regional office for the Eastern Mediterranean, Ahmed Al-Mandhari, stated that WHO has documented 178 attacks targeting medical facilities and 27 out of 36 hospitals have been forced to close due to the destruction of basic infrastructure.
In Gaza today, people are deprived of access to nourishment, clean water and medical care, shelter and protection. As estimated, 3/4 of residents have been internally displaced after repeated attempts to flee from violence. Even hospitals that are supposed to be safe were not spared from these atrocities. The organization has documented 178 attacks targeting medical facilities in Gaza.
Now, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, during a G20 video call, welcomed the agreement for some of the hostages held in Gaza to be released.
As you know, today the Russian president, for the first time since the start of the war of aggression against Ukraine, participated in a video call of the G20 heads of the state and government. I call on President Putin to end his attack on Ukraine and to withdraw troops from Ukraine's territory so that this war finally ends.
Now, Israeli forces said they have taken the headquarters of a Hamas brigade in northern Gaza. The army released a video on Wednesday showing weapons cache, a workshop, a 7-meter wide tunnel and shafts in the ground that they have discovered from the raid. As per Israeli sources, the weapons found were apparently used by Hamas in the October 7 attack on Israel. Now, Finland's Prime Minister Petteri Orpo announced that Finland will close all but one of its border crossings with Russia. The closure will take effect at midnight on Friday. The remaining crossings will be the northernmost one. The closure is an attempt to stop the flow of asylum seekers to Finland. The government claims that Moscow is intentionally pushing refugees and migrants to Finland's borders. A Finnish minister said there are signs that Russian border officials and other agencies are involved. He called the ongoing migration pressure on Europe's eastern border a hybrid attack operation. The international border between Finland and Russia is 830 miles long. It is also an external border of the European Union and NATO. The Ukrainian Army's Strategic Communications Directorate released footage on Wednesday showing the aftermath of a strike on a Russian Special Forces base. The Directorate says that a Russian Special Forces commander point in Kherson region was the target. Some pro-Russian bloggers said Russian forces had been harrying Ukrainian forces near the village of Kerinke, near the marshes on the eastern bank upriver from the city of Kherson. Ukrainian military analyst Pavlo Noronzi told NV Radio that Kiev's forces had established a beachhead at Kerinke and were advancing on the larger town of Oleshki to the south. And President Volodymyr Zelensky and his defense minister welcomed the formation by Ukraine's Western allies of a 20-nation coalition to boost air defenses on Thursday. Zelensky said the group, one of several devoted to specific areas of Ukraine's defense, was formed at a virtual meeting of the Ramstein Group examining Ukraine's military needs. The decision is seen as a key element in the country's campaign against Russian forces. Germany's defense ministry had earlier announced the formation of the group, with Germany and France taking on leading roles. Now, commander of the Houthi Navy toured the commercial cargo ship Galaxy Leader seized by the group in the Red Sea on Wednesday. Brigadier General Muhammad Abdul Nabi said his forces would stand ready to attack any Israeli ship crossing the Bab al-Mandab Strait in the south of the Red Sea. The Iran-backed Houthis, who have been sending drones and long-range missiles at Israel. The Galaxy leadership was seized on Sunday. Now, during a G20 video call on Wednesday, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz called on Russian President Vladimir Putin to end the invasion of Ukraine. Scholz said he asked Putin to withdraw his troops from the Ukraine's territory so that this war finally ends. Listen in.
As you know, today the Russian president, for the first time since the start of the war of aggression against Ukraine, participated in a video call of the G20 heads of the state and government. I call on President Putin to end his attack on Ukraine and to withdraw troops from Ukraine's territory so that this war finally ends.
Now, CSTO members comprising Armenia, Kazakhstan, Russia, Belarus, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan gather in Belarus, but Armenia skips the summit, impacting Moscow and CSTO. DD India correspondent Dasha Tarnishova reports from Moscow on the significance of the meeting.
Security Treaty Organization, also known as CSTO. Several leaders of post-Soviet countries are expected to join the summit in person, including Russian President Vladimir Putin, President of Kazakhstan Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, the President of Tajikistan Emomali Rahmon. The President of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, who is hosting the summit, said he expected the gathering to help galvanize collective efforts to beef up defense and security. In his words, the post-Soviet space was going through a difficult phase. First of all, due to the conflict situations, including in the CSTO area of responsibility. Most recently, Lukashenko welcomed the resolution of the conflict between Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan in the south of Central Asia, and said it was necessary to think about future after the confrontation between Armenia and Azerbaijan has ended. But Armenian officials have declined to attend the summit in person. Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan said earlier that Azerbaijan's actions and inaction of the CSTO forced Yerevan to seek to diversify its relations in the security area. Moscow regrets the Armenian approach. Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova said the decision to skip the CSTO summit did not meet the long-term interests of the Armenian people and would not contribute to the strengthening of the security and stability of Armenia. Dasha Tarnishova reporting in Moscow for DD India.
And North Korea says it puts its first spy satellite into orbit in defiance of United Nations resolutions, and it says it plans to further launches. The White House has condemned North Korea's actions, saying they could destabilize East Asia. Here's Andrew Wood in Hong Kong.
The advantage for North Korea is that with a satellite in orbit, no matter how crude it is compared to, say, anything produced by Russia or America or China, is that it gets some idea of what's going on in its backyard, in the territory of its rivals, its enemies, namely South Korea and Japan, and for that matter, probably China as well. Now, the United Nations Security Council and the United Nations General Assembly have a long list of sanctions and resolutions that in theory forbid North Korea from launching missiles, launching rockets. Remember, rockets and missiles are remarkably similar. They can be used to carry spy satellites, or they could be used to carry warheads. North Korea, though, is probably going to continue to ignore them. It seems it says it has a sovereign right to launch missiles and rockets, to have its own space program. Nevertheless, Japan and South Korea are not too happy with what's going on. America has shown solidarity with a show of force by, for example, sending nuclear submarines and an aircraft carrier to South Korea to show that it's prepared to defend, or certainly to stand by its allies, South Korea and Japan. And also don't forget that South Korea, Japan and America are, in theory, in a couple of weeks' time, starting to share real-time data about what's going on with North Korea's missile launches as well. North Korea seems, by its actions, a bit, in a way, like what China seems to be doing with Taiwan. It seems the more bellicosely it acts, the more it actually seems to bring its allies together. In Hong Kong, I'm Andrew Wood, reporting for DD India.
All right, we'll slip into a very short break, but still to come on DD India News Hour. Mission Zindagi rescue operation continues as connection re-established with the workers trapped in the Silk Yara tunnel. And to bolster bilateral ties, Seychelles Minister of Foreign Affairs arrives in India.
Turning crisis into opportunity, transforming ideas into action, stories of real change, tales of sustainable solution. This series is going to tell stories of such change makers. Watch Change Makers on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. Well, I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired a virtual summit of G20 leaders on Wednesday to discuss the implementation of the Delhi Declaration adopted in September and several new challenges that have emerged since then. Amit Mukherjee reports.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi asserted on Wednesday that the spirit of one family has the strength to keep the world unified in the fight against terror and violence and help the global community to ensure peace and well-being of humanity. Addressing the virtual summit of G20 leaders, PM Modi reiterated India's commitment to work for the welfare of all.
आज संकटों के जो बादल हम देख रहे हैं, वन फैमिली में वह ताकत है कि हम शांति के लिए काम कर सकते हैं। मानवीय कल्याण के दृष्टिकोण से हम आतंक और हिंसा के विरुद्ध और मानवता के प्रति अपनी आवाज बुलंद कर सकते हैं। आज विश्व की मानवता की इस अपेक्षा की पूर्ति के लिए भारत कदम से कदम मिलाकर चलने के लिए तत्पर है।
On the release of hostages held in Gaza, Prime Minister Modi during the G20 virtual summit welcomed the news of hostage release and hoped that all the hostages will be freed soon.
आतंकवाद हम सभी को अस्वीकार्य है। सिविलियंस की मौत कहीं भी हो निंदनीय है। आज हुए हॉस्टेजेस के रिलीज के समाचार का हम स्वागत करते हैं। उम्मीद करते हैं कि सभी हॉस्टेजेस जल्दी रिहा हो जाएंगे। मानवीय सहायता का समय से और निरंतर पहुंचना आवश्यक है।
Expressing concern over the Israel-Hamas conflict, the Prime Minister said that the Middle East unrest should not become a regional crisis. He said that India, along with the world community, is concerned and is hoping for an early resolution of the issue.
यह सुनिश्चित करना भी जरूरी है कि इजरायल और हमास की लड़ाई किसी तरह का क्षेत्रीय रूप धारण न कर ले।
Prime Minister Modi also touched upon the use of artificial intelligence and said that global cooperation was necessary for its regulation. He expressed concern over its misuse, especially the deepfake issue, and stressed on the need to use the technology in a responsible manner.
आज आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के युग में टेक्नोलॉजी को रिस्पॉन्सिबल तरीके से उपयोग में लाने की जरूरत है। पूरी दुनिया में एआई के नेगेटिव यूज को लेकर चिंता बढ़ रही है। भारत की स्पष्ट सोच है कि एआई के वैश्विक रेगुलेशन को लेकर हमें मिलकर काम करना चाहिए। डीप फेक समाज के लिए, व्यक्ति के लिए कितना खतरनाक है, इसकी गंभीरता को समझते हुए हमें आगे बढ़ना होगा। हम चाहते हैं कि AI should reach the people and it must be safe for the society.
The Prime Minister also highlighted that the concerns of the Global South countries need to be prioritized.
21वीं सदी के विश्व को आगे बढ़ते हुए ग्लोबल साउथ की चिंताओं को सर्वोच्च प्राथमिकता देनी होगी। ग्लोबल साउथ के देश ऐसी अनेक कठिनाइयों से गुजर रहे हैं जिनके लिए वे जिम्मेदार नहीं है। इस संदर्भ में समय की मांग है कि हम डेवलपमेंट एजेंडा को अपना पूर्ण समर्थन दें।
During his address, Prime Minister Modi said it was a proud moment for India to get on board the African nations during India's G20 presidency. He said the step was a significant move to show inclusivity during the New Delhi G20 summit. Amit Mukherjee for DD India.
All right, after the conclusion of India's G20 presidency, the country's External Affairs Ministry held a press briefing to highlight some key agenda discussed during the virtual G20 summit on Wednesday. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said there has been an understanding for the formulation of a roadmap for the handling of crypto assets.
The next agenda on which there was a lot of a sense of working together, and I was very glad to hear the FSP speaking about the crypto asset framework on which they wanted the roadmap is ready, they wanted countries to take it up, and it is only through that we are going to have the risks which have to be managed by particularly the emerging market countries, which can be handled, because the roadmap actually has looked into some specific areas.
And Minister Sitharaman said the G20 members states reiterated their steadfast commitment for action against climate change. She also mentioned the significance of the upcoming COP28 summit in the UAE.
Timely and adequate mobilization of climate finance has also remained high on our agenda during our presidency. Today we heard a lot of members talking about this and how important this will be. Climate finance has been emphasized in terms of new collective quantified goals that we have to arrive by 2024. There was frequent reference by all the members talking about next we meet at COP28. So this marked the major last summit under virtual, however, under the Indian presidency, and effectively ends the Indian presidency. But there was a lingering memory of this presidency moving over to COP28, which was referred to by most members, saying we are going to carry forward our agenda on climate finance to the next.
Now, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said that the leaders condemned terrorism, civilian deaths and discussed humanitarian assistance. Minister Jaishankar said that the G20 member states appreciated the truce between Israel and Hamas.
What we heard really were condemnation of terrorism, expression of deep concern over the loss of civilian lives, calls for extending timely and adequate humanitarian assistance, not allowing the conflict to spread, and to find a long-term solution for the Palestine issue. G20 members on the whole welcomed the understanding which has been reached on the release of hostages, on the flow of relief material to Gaza, and some pause in the fighting.
While recounting some of India's key achievements during its G20 presidency, Minister Jaishankar said India's G20 presidency was Global South-centric.
There was one point, I think, which all of us would have noted today, a very clear recognition that India's G20 presidency was Global South-centric, and it had brought development back fair, square and center of the G20. I think this was a very widely voiced thought. not just among the G20 members, but also, I would say, among the international organizations.
All right, moving on to our next story now, a big one. A big sigh of relief for India's connection with the workers trapped in the collapsed Silkyara tunnel in India's Uttarkashi district has been re-established this morning. The rescue work is underway. The auger machine is being taken inside the tunnel again so that horizontal drilling can start. 2 6-meter pipes are being drilled and inserted inside the tunnel so that the workers can be taken out safely. And Mission Zindagi rescue operation, which it has been named, will be completed. Meanwhile, also 41-bed hospital has been made ready at Chinyali South Community Health Center in Uttarkashi to take care of the workers once they are out. All right, DD India's OP Yadav has been tracking this story. He is joining us live from Uttarkashi. ओपी मिशन लास्ट स्टेज पर है, कब तक एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं जो ट्रैप्ड वर्कर्स हैं उनका रेस्क्यू कर लिया जाएगा?
जी, उत्तरकाशी के सिलक्यारा टनल में बीते 12 नवंबर से फंसे मजदूरों को निकालने का काम राहत और आपदा बचाव युद्ध स्तर पर जारी रहा है और इसका काउंटडाउन शुरू हो गया है। कल रात को करीबन 5 बजे के बाद देर रात जब यहां पर एक मशीन में ड्रिलिंग करते टाइम एक परेशानी आई थी, उसमें क्या रोड और जो गर्डर आने की वजह से रात कार्य बंद हो गया था। पूरी रात ये बंद रहा, लेकिन उसके बाद इस गर्डर को भोर सुबह 5 बजे जब काटा गया था, उसके बाद से फिर से इसमें हॉरिजॉन्टल मशीन, अमेरिकन ऑगर मशीन लगाई गई थी जो अभी ड्रिलिंग का काम कर रही है और इसमें तकरीबन 10 से 12 मीटर का 800 mm का जो पाइप है वो उसमें डाला जा रहा है। इस पाइप के डालने के बाद उम्मीद की जा रही है कि 5 घंटा प्रति आवर के हिसाब से काम करती है और इसके अलावा जो वेल्डिंग का काम करना होता है उसमें 1 घंटे का समय लगेगा। तो कुल मिलाकर ये देखा जा सकता है कि 5 से 6 घंटे के दौरान ये पूरा ऑपरेशन पूरा हो जाएगा और उसके बाद इन मजदूरों को न केवल सकुशल निकाल लिया जाएगा बल्कि इनको यहाँ से पहले पैरामेडिकल स्टाफ की जाँच होगी, उसके बाद CMO स्तर की जाँच होगी और उसके बाद जो चिनियाली मोड़ पे जो हॉस्पिटल है वहाँ पे ले जाकर इनकी अलग से जांच करने का प्रावधान किया गया है। तो इनकी स्वास्थ्य जांच के बाद इनको यहाँ से देहरादून लिफ्ट अप किया जाएगा और वहाँ से एक अस्थायी बेड बनाया गया है ऋषिकेश एम्स में, तो हो सकता है वहाँ भी इनको ले जाया जाए। इनकी तैयारियों का पूरा जायजा रात भर चलता रहा और जो ऑपरेशन वो भी रात भर चलता रहा। अभी राज्य के मुख्यमंत्री भी यहाँ आए हुए हैं जो हेलीपैड से आएंगे और इन मजदूरों को जब निकलेंगे उस वक्त उनसे बातचीत करेंगे और संवाद करेंगे। तो कुल मिलाकर आज इसका नेगेटिव काउंटडाउन शुरू हो गया है, जबकि ये बीते 13 दिन से जो अभियान चल रहा है उसको समाप्ति की ओर भी ये पहुंच रहा है।
Rescue operation is at final stage. Thank you, OP, for giving us the latest from Uttarkashi. We'll keep taking updates from you, but we're about to reach a big breakthrough. That's what our correspondent from Uttarkashi is saying, that it will take some time. The drilling work has started again, and thank God the connection has been re-established with the trapped workers. 41 workers have been trapped since November 12, and our correspondent is saying that it is reaching the last stage, and we are about to reach a big breakthrough, and hopefully by 1 or 1:30 p.m. Moving on to our next story now, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Tourism of Seychelles is in New Delhi on a 3-day visit to India. The visiting minister will meet India's External Affairs Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar on Thursday to discuss further strengthening the partnership between the two countries. All right, to talk more on this, DD India's Akshay Dongre is joining us live from Delhi. Akshay, good morning. Dr. S. Jaishankar will hold talks with Radigonde to review India's Seychelles bilateral engagement in various fields. Tell us his schedule today.
Well, this is a 3-day visit by the Seychelles Tourism and Foreign Minister, and a crucial one given the fact that how India has been trying to build and rather foster relations with the countries in the Indian Ocean region, and as far as the India's Sagar initiative is concerned, Seychelles can become a crucial part of it. Now, when we talk about the Sagar initiative, it is an initiative for progress for all in the region, and Seychelles being located at a very important location geostrategically, as well as when we talk about the trade routes of India, especially coming from the Middle East. Seychelles is one country that has been extremely important as far as its geostrategic location is concerned. However, in this 3-day visit, it's not just the strategic ties that are going to be discussed, but a trade as well. And while historically the trade relations between Seychelles and India have not been extremely high, but both the countries have realized over the period of past several decades that there is a lot of potential for these two countries to in fact improve their trade, and that exactly is the reason that this perhaps is the first visit by the foreign minister of Seychelles after he was sworn in, after he has taken over to India, and this is perhaps India's growing relations with the African continent that is exhibited because earlier as well African countries have started they have increased their visits to India. That has been done especially given the fact that India has been vocally talking about at all the multilateral and global forums about the global south. It has been talking about the developing world. It has been talking about the African Union, and hence this visit can be seen as the fostering relations between India and Africa as well.
Right. Akshay, also you talked about geostrategic importance. Tell us the bilateral relationship that India and Seychelles share. And this visit will further strengthen ties between the two countries?
Well, this is an island nation, and from what we have seen historically, Seychelles, be it Maldives, India has had relations with almost all of these island nations that are located in the Arabian Sea, the island nations that are located in the Indo-Pacific region, in Indian Ocean region, and that exactly is the reason that India has had extremely high influence in the entire region as far as the Indian Ocean region and the Arabic Sea region is concerned. Given the fact that China has also been trying to foster relations, India has been going ahead with the Sagarmala project, which envisions about 500 to 600 ports across the world. So that is going to be an extremely ambitious project, and that will require good relations with all of the countries in the ocean, be it Oceania, be it Indo-Pacific region, be it Indian Ocean region, be it Arabian Sea region, like the one that we are having, or rather the kind of relation we are improving with Seychelles. So in that sense, the relations and this visit becomes extremely important, and it remains to be seen that what exactly are going to be the outcomes of this visit. Because while trade is one issue, Seychelles also has been talking about climate change, being a nation in the oceans. It has been talking about climate change, and that perhaps is the reason why it becomes important to see that what exactly going to be the outcome.
All right, meaningful talks about fortifying two nations alliance are yet to come. Thank you, Akshay. Thank you for your views. We'll keep taking updates from you. All right, now let's take a look at other stories making news today. The Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra launched by Indian Prime Minister is now launched into various states in India. The Yatra Rath was grandly welcomed in Keonjhar as it reached 8th day in Indian state of Odisha. Officials of health, gas and fertilizer agencies also explained about the benefits of the government schemes. Several beneficiaries also shared their happiness and thanked PM Modi for the people-centric yojanas. Indian Prime Minister's initiative of Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra has reached the 8th day of Indian state of Odisha. The initiative designed for comprehensive development underscores the government's dedication to reach every citizen and ensure that the benefits of government schemes reach one and all. An Indian Army Medical Corps officer, Colonel Sunita, has scripted history by becoming the first woman to command Armed Forces Transfusion Center, Delhi Cantonment, the largest blood transfusion center of the Indian Armed Forces. The DGA FMS Lieutenant General Daljit Singh has congratulated Colonel Sunita on her new appointment and has wished her more laurels in the future. All right, time now for another short break, but still to come on DD India News Hour. Amid growing aggressive Chinese activity in the area, the militaries of the Philippines and the United States launched joint patrols in South China Sea. As Netherlands get up for a change, we'll tell you ahead who is likely to win. UAE inaugurates the world's largest single-site 2 gigawatt solar power plant ahead of the upcoming United Nations COP28 conference.
Turning crisis into opportunity, transforming ideas into action, stories of real change, tales of sustainable solution.
This series is going to tell stories of such change makers.
Watch Change Makers on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. At least 2 people died when a car exploded near a border checkpoint at a bridge connecting the US and Canada. Officials say there is no evidence to suggest terrorism, but an investigation is underway. This incident caused major disruptions at a time when millions of Americans are traveling for the Thanksgiving holiday. DD India's William Denslow reports from New York.
In her press conference, New York's Governor Kathy Hochul said that this investigation will go on for a number of days, but she added that it's important for people to turn down the temperature, trying to reassure people, saying that all is well. She said that at this time there is no indication of a terrorist attack. However, she did also say that it would be premature to say that this was an accident. She said that we don't know if it was intentional at this moment in time. Some footage has emerged purportedly showing this incident on the Rainbow Bridge, this incredibly busy border crossing between the US and Canada. It shows a vehicle travelling at high speed, seemingly losing control before going up in flames. That corroborates some eyewitness testimony we've been hearing throughout Wednesday as well. We have heard significantly from law enforcement. According to their preliminary investigations, no explosives found in the vehicle. This has caused major travel disruptions on the border between the US and Canada. We saw that at the time of the incident, 4 border crossings around the Niagara area in upstate New York were closed. New York's governor says that all of those bridges were reopening as soon as possible, with the exception of the Rainbow Bridge. She says that that bridge, the one in question involved in this incident, will remain closed until it is deemed structurally safe to reopen.
Right now, the Rainbow Bridge will remain closed while law enforcement continues investigation. Again, this is a large, widely scattered scene, and we're trying to identify all the elements to make sure that there is no unforeseen situations that we need to address before we can open again to the public.
The White House was informed and kept abreast of developments after this incident occurred on Wednesday, and it really comes at a time of heightened security concerns in the United States, not least because this occurs as so many people are traveling in the US for the Thanksgiving holidays. Around 55 million Americans are expected to take to the roads, take to the skies over the next few days. This incident is not only causing delays in certain parts of the US, but really is increasing jitters for law enforcement and the public as well, at a time where so many people in the US are traveling for the holidays. William Denslow in New York, reporting for DD India.
And the militaries of the Philippines and the United States launched joint patrols in waters near Taiwan. The Philippines is set to conduct naval drills and maritime exercises off Mabulis Island, the northernmost point of Taiwan. And DD India correspondent Andrew Wood is joining us live from Hong Kong to give us the latest. Andrew, the militaries of the Philippines and the United States launched joint patrols on Tuesday in waters near Taiwan. A move likely to fan further tension with China.
Yes, China, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that it wanted America and the Philippines to make sure that they respected China's territorial integrity. Don't forget, China claims pretty much all of the South China Sea. The Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia and other countries, though, claim large chunks of it as their own territorial water, and they seem to have international legal backing for that. But I think although China has warned not to inflame tensions and to respect integrity, this is, an opportunity for America to stand by the Philippines, its ally. There's been quite a change over the past few years since President Marcos was elected president, a big change from his predecessor. America has rebuilt relations with the Philippines, and it's already got 5 military bases there, and it's said to be opening another 4 in order to help the Philippines deter from infringing on its territory or attacking.
Right, Andrew, also, tell us about the relationship between Philippines and China. It shows that the Philippines is really firming up its posture on West Philippine Sea issues.
Yes, the area that the Philippines is most worried about is what the Philippines calls the West Philippine Sea, which is part of the South China Sea. And there are atolls and reefs and so on in that area. In particular, there's one which the Philippines beached a ship, wrecked a ship there to use as a military outpost. And the Chinese Coast Guard has been preventing or trying to stop Philippines resupplying this military base. At the moment, it's difficult to see how relations could improve without China backing down or the Philippines backing down. China claims, as I say, most of the South China Sea. The Philippines says that it's infringing in seas that it claims. And I really don't see this improving. If anything, I think probably things will get worse because the Philippines will strengthen its relationship with the Americans. And don't forget, in the past couple of months, even Japan has signed agreements with the Philippines to increase training and joint operations and so on as well with the Japanese self-defense force. So these countries, Korea, Japan, South Korea and Japan, Taiwan is an ally of the Americans, the Philippines too, they're all getting together or working more closely together to try against what they see as an increasing threat of China.
All right, Andrew, we'll end it here. Thank you for your views, but we'll keep taking updates from you. Moving on to our next story now. According to exit poll results on Wednesday, Dutch anti-European Union far-right populist Geert Wilders was set for a major victory in the parliamentary elections. The exit poll put Wilders' Freedom Party at 35 out of 150 seats, 10 seats ahead of the closest rival, former European Union Commissioner Frans Timmermans' Labour-Green Left combination. At a cafe in The Hague, Wilders fans erupted in cheers, hugged and threw their arms in the air. In a victory speech, Wilders vowed to halt all immigration to the Netherlands. And the US is celebrating the annual Thanksgiving holiday with millions of people traveling to visit family and friends. But with record numbers traveling in extreme storms predicted in parts of the country, it could be a stressful day ahead for many. US correspondent Nick Harper reports.
The annual US holiday is a time to give thanks, to tot up all the things you're grateful for. But for many Americans, it's also a time of intense frustration as they sit in their cars or airport lounges waiting to get where they're hoping to go. A record number of people are traveling this Thanksgiving. No pandemic travel restrictions and cheaper gas prices are motivating many to get on the roads and into the air. Up to 5 million people are flying, almost 50 million driving. Even last year's problems of snowstorms and flight cancellations hasn't deterred people from travelling. But storms with rain, snow and strong winds are bringing travel chaos to millions. Thousands of flights have been delayed, dozens have been cancelled. And for those who make it around the Thanksgiving table, many are reportedly concerned about what they're going to talk about with their friends and family. A survey shows 60% of people plan to avoid politics as a topic of conversation in the hope of avoiding arguments. Shopping is another big activity over Thanksgiving, both online and in person. More than 180 million Americans, that's more than half of the population, are planning purchases during Thanksgiving, Black Friday Friday and Cyber Monday sales events. That'll be a record-breaking number and an increase on last year as inflationary pressures and prices have dropped slightly during the last 12 months. Nick Harper in Washington, reporting for DD India.
Now, the UAE has inaugurated the world's largest single-site solar power plant ahead of the upcoming United Nations COP28 conference. The 2-gigawatt power project is located 35 kilometers from Abu Dhabi and will generate enough electricity to power almost 200,000 homes. The plant is expected to displace 2.4 million tons of carbon emissions annually. COP28 President-designate Dr. Sultan Al Jaber emphasized the significance of power plant as a symbol of progress in solar power efficiency and cost competitiveness. And in the wee hours of Thursday, Nepal faced another earthquake as it gets hit by one of 4.5 magnitude at 1:20 a.m. Indian Standard Time. However, no casualties have been reported. The epicenter of the earthquake is at Chitlang of Makwanpur district in the southwest of Kathmandu Valley, according to Nepal Seismological Center. Now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. The Mexican National Guard on Wednesday captured Nestor Isidro Perez Salas, or El Nini, accused of heading security for the faction of the Sinaloa cartel. Perez Salas is indicted for his alleged role at the helm of the Chapito security apparatus, including cocaine and methamphetamine trafficking conspiracy, possession of machine guns, and witness retaliation. Mexico City mariachi musicians clad in traditional cropped jackets and white sombreros filled the streets with music on Wednesday in the annual celebration of their patron Saint Cecilia. Mariachis originated in the 19th century in the western state of Jalisco, where they performed at festivals and weddings. Rock Artifacts of ZZ Top founding member and famous guitar player Dusty Hill will go on sale in an auction scheduled from 7 to 9 December in Dallas. Hill died in 2021 at the age of 72. The items come directly from Hill's family and are expected to generate $1.2 to $2 million, with part of the proceeds going to the music cares. All right, time now for another short break, but still to come on DD India News Hour. There is good news for US stocks as they ended higher yesterday, being optimistic. We tell you why ahead. Experts predict Altman's return to accelerate OpenAI's drive to more powerful AI. And stay with us as we get you a roundup of day 3 at IFFI.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. US stocks ended higher on Wednesday on optimism that the Federal Reserve may be done raising interest rates and that the economy is still resilient. According to preliminary data, the S&P 500 gained 18.41 points to end at 4,556.42 points, while the Nasdaq Composite gained 65.88 points to 14,265.86. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 182.27 points to 35,270.56. And after a tumultuous internal power struggle, OpenAI brought back Sam Altman as CEO just days after his ouster and installing a revamped board Moves that, coupled with strong support from investors, may give Altman more leeway to commercialize the technology. Cornell Professor and Tech Policy Institute Director Sarah Krebs says the new board appears to be more aligned with Altman's vision of accelerating the development of AI while also ensuring safeguards are in place. The board fired Altman last week with little explanation and attempted to move on by naming an interim CEO twice. However, pressure from Microsoft, a major investor, and the 38-year-old's strong loyalty among the 700-plus OpenAI employees led to Altman's reinstatement as of Wednesday. You're watching DD India News Hour. Time now for some sporting action. All right, we'll start with cricket. Just days after playing the ODI World Cup final, India and Australia are set for a 5-match T20 international series from Thursday, which is November 23rd. The last game will be played on December 3rd. The Indian cricket team will take the field without a full-strength squad. The majority of its senior players who featured in the month-long 50-over World Cup were rested for the upcoming India-Australia T20 bilateral series. India's Surya Kumar Yadav will captain India in the absence of full-time skipper Rohit Sharma. Surya Kumar Yadav is the only Indian player in the squad that played the World Cup final on November 19th, where India went down to Australia by 6 wickets. And the United Nations General Assembly has called for the traditional Olympic truce during the Paris 2024 Olympics and Paralympics, but Russia condemned what it called political interference in sport. DD India's Ross Cullen reports from Paris.
Was passed with 118 countries voting in favour and none against, though Russia and Syria abstained. India did not take part in the vote. UN member states are urged to observe the truce individually and collectively throughout the period from the 7th day before the start of the Olympics next year until the 7th day after the end of the Paralympics. Russia put forward an amendment to the truce resolution prohibiting discrimination in sport, but that proposal was not considered. And the Russian delegation condemned the International Olympic Committee's decision not to invite Russia or Belarus to the Paris Games as, quote, politicised and discriminatory. Ukraine's UN delegate said Russia violated the Olympic truce in 2008, in 2014 and last year when it invaded Ukraine 4 days after the conclusion of the Winter Olympics in Beijing. The ancient Greek tradition of a truce began in the 8th century BCE and it was renewed by the International Olympic Committee in 1992. The resolution has become a tradition as it is up for consideration every 2 years in advance of the Summer and Winter Olympic Games. Paris hosts the 2024 Games from the 26th of July next year. In Paris, Ross Cullen reporting for DD India.
And Greece's Olympic rowing champion Stefan Nasouskos will be the first torchbearer of the Paris 2024 Olympics relay after next year's lighting ceremony in ancient Olympia, Greece's Olympic Committee said on Wednesday. The Olympic flame will be lit in Olympia on April 16th in a traditional ceremony with an actress playing a high priestess igniting the torch during a parabolic mirror and the sun. After an 11-day relay, the flame will be handed over to Paris Games organizers in Athens on April 26th with water polo Olympic silver medalist Ioannis Fontoulis as the final torchbearer. The Paris Olympics will be held from July 26 to August 11 next year. On day 3 of the International Film Festival of India, there were numerous film screenings and events to celebrate the art of cinema. The day witnessed red carpet event screenings of movies including Elegies Vad and Room 999, masterclass and in-conversation sessions were also conducted.
Several highly anticipated films were screened on the third day, including both national and international entries. These movies covered a wide range of genres, from drama to comedy to experimental cinema. The 54th edition of the International Film Festival of India is screening 25 feature films and 20 non-feature films in its flagship component of Indian Panorama. Vad, after garnering many accolades, was screened today in the Indian Panorama section.
I liked it so much, seeing it second time, and this is a very good platform. It's a very different platform than the release in towns, and I was very happy to see so many people come for this film.
अच्छा, बढ़िया, बेहतरीन, good
एंड ये फेस्टिवल में आना हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ी बात है. इट्स ऑनर.
CBC exhibition is another attraction at the 54th IFFI in Goa. This year's CBC exhibition captures the essence of projecting Indian films and their contributions using cutting-edge technology and futuristic trends. Various technologies like augmented reality, virtual reality, digital puzzle, immersive room and digital flipbook have been used to enhance the experience of visitors.
Aim of this exhibition is to engage the people of Goa, Panji and all those who are visiting Goa from outside to attend the film festival, and also the school children, college children, and to show them the various facets of Indian cinema.
The cast and crew of suspense thriller Kadak Singh, including Aniruddh Roy Chaudhary, Pankaj Tripathi, Parvati Thiruvotu, Jaya Ehsan, Paresh Pahuja and Sanjana Sanghi, walked the red carpet for the screening of their film. Day 3 of the International Film Festival of India was an exciting and enriching experience for both film enthusiasts and industry professionals. Shyama Mishra reporting for DD India.
And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly Twitter and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.